right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Something Super Podcast. I'm Steve.
And I'm Mark.
And we are back to our regularly scheduled Thursday programming now that Loki's over. So, speaking of Loki, we wanted to cover the season finale. We wanted to give you guys some time to sort of process it. I know it was a lot. I've heard mixed reviews. I have mixed feelings myself about some parts of the finale, but I'll tell you what, overall, series 10 out of 10. So I can start there. Sadly, again, Jay is off with, we'll call him Kang the Conqueror, searching the multiverse, looking for his variants, mostly the Ewok Sith variant. But yeah, I mean, I really wanted to cover this. I know, Mark, you were excited too. We decided not to do a Tuesday episode just because there's no preparation for this week. We're not giving you guys anything that you need to know for any upcoming episodes. We'll be covering Black Widow soon. And I guess, Mark, give me some thoughts and feelings on the finale.
Yeah, guys, we really just want to give you some time to just let it soak in. And I have so many mixed feelings about it. I loved it. I really did. So far, for me, Loki's was the best TV series they did, but WandaVision to me still had the best finale. But like, there was so little action. Honestly, I think the only action that really happens in this movie is Miss Minute scaring the shit out of us. And literally the only other ones when Owen Wilson just gets thrown around like a bitch. Like, other than that, it's all dialogue and it's amazing. We finally find out like who Renslayer's Jonas.
The variant.
Yeah, the variant. There's the word.
Yeah, don't worry. We're definitely not from Philly using those words.
But no, yeah, we find out that she was a teacher or a principal at the very least, and on the diploma in the back, it has her like comic book name when she runs away from Kang. Question for you: do you think that Loki got thrown back to the same TVA, or do you think that maybe she sent him to like another timeline? Or
so that's something that I really wanted to talk about, and I'm sure a lot of people have questions, comments, concerns about the intro to this episode specifically. It had a lot of famous people speaking about like time travel, multiverse stuff, things about different worlds, etc. And it was basically just jumbled up mess by the end of it. But one thing that I noticed is we came out of what looked like a sunny side up black egg and then sort of hopped into another one. Now, that could have been an alternate universe or, one of the many multiverses that we think doesn't exist. But I have a couple theories. Again, I'm completely cool with Mephistoing this one up and, just being wrong. But I like to think that intro was us leaving our universe and jumping into another one. And that's the TVA that they're currently with the Kang the Conqueror statue or the He Who Remains statue, whatever you want to call him.
No, that's full on Kang.
Yeah. Like whatever you want to, describe him as, that was a statue of him. So that's the TVA that we're currently dealing with. Obviously, where Owen Wilson and Hunter D15 don't know who Loki is because they've never had to experience him yet. Now, in my personal opinion, here's my current running theory. Inside of each of one of those black sunny side up eggs is its own, like the multiverse existed. It has always existed, but everyone lived in their own universe and it was sort of unknown about the other universes. Because when you went to the castle that He Who Remains lived in, it had a singular circular ring around it. And for a lot of you, that is just like, oh, it's a cool visual effect. That's awesome. But for me, I think it is one of those things where time is usually linear when we describe it. If you look at a timeline, it's 1987's back here, 2021's up here. Like, it's just, there's one line. It's not a circle. You don't circle back to 1987. You don't circle back to 1900s or 1800s to 17. Like, you don't ever go back. It's
right.
Linear. So does that mean that everything that has happened up until the point where the two Lokis, which we know together caused a huge branch on the timeline, has everything been a time loop? Does he understand what's happening? And he knows what is written in history already because it has happened already. And now, because the two Lokis came together, caused a rift in the timeline because they're not supposed to be in the same universe together, they caused the multiversal collapse. We knew it was going to happen because he said in the show, all right, like from here, I don't know what's going to happen. After like the thunder cracked and there was like the big rumble and everything shook, he was like, all right, like from here on out, like I'm serious. Like I don't know what's going on.
See, I have theories about that personally.
So, and then you noticed it afterwards, it was no longer a circle, but it looked similar to like a nebula, like a space-esque
Right.
thing. So that I think is what caused all of the multiverses to collide. And now they basically exist on top of each other instead of being their own, singular universe. So again, I could be wrong. I could be right. Who knows? Because the MCU does everything different than the comic books. So if you're basing it off the comics, you could be completely wrong, even if it is 100% Marvel comic accurate.
See, I don't think that it was a time loop necessarily. For me, I think he was lying to them when he said we're past the point that I don't know what's going to happen. And the reason why I think that is because every single action he did and every sense he spoke kind of like set up him wanting to happen. Like when Loki, like he looks at Sylvie and he's like, "You could never trust." Loki finally accepts, like, okay, she'll never trust anybody, especially a Loki. Then he's playing like with the I don't know what you want to call it, the temp pad. Is that what you? I
Well,
guess it was. He
yeah,
had
his temp pad's a little different. It looks sort of like marble, like gold and black
right.
marble. But he was also it wasn't a piece of tech like the ones from the TVA, but he was also able to pull like that like movable clay from like it was a weird. I don't know. And maybe it's because his is the most advanced. It's the 3rd century tech, while the TVA looks like they're stuck in fucking 1974. Like
Right.
I don't know.
No, and that's what I was thinking. Because for me, I'm like, he says he doesn't know what's going to happen, but he's driving it to the point that Sylvie's going to kill him. And even when he dies, if you look really closely, there's a stack of books next to him, and on there is an actual upside down hourglass that had just run out of time.
Okay.
So for me, I think his whole plan was this. I think he just exists outside of space and time, so he ages differently. Like, don't get me wrong, I still think he's old as shit, and yeah, he's from the future and he can experience everything. But for me, I think he's finally like to the point where he's like, you know what? People are fighting against me here, there, everywhere. Like it kind of fell apart. You had Owen Wilson spread it all over the TVA. You have Loki and Sylvie who are like just pursuing this shit. Like even if people are like, stop, they're like, no. So it's kind of like for me, I think he had everything planned out. He knew what was going to happen. And for him, he was just like, you know what? You're going to keep messing with me. I'm going to mess with you because like he seemed happy to die. And he even says he calls it reincarnation. He says, I'll be seeing you soon. Like that's not something that somebody who randomly gets killed says.
Sure. Now again, I 110% like I didn't think of it from your perspective. So that's not to say it's right or wrong. My perspective was he knows a variant of him is going to see them soon. Now, again, that's very inside the box thinking. Um this is one of those episodes though that like is very much it was different than every other episode. For those of you that aren't super aware, like when it comes to TV shows and creation and stuff like that, there's this thing called a bottle episode. And a bottle episode is like a real low budget episode that sort of, saves money from that one so they can put money into other episodes. And I feel like this was that bottle episode. Like Community did one, they actually made a joke about it during the filming of it, where they were stuck in like the study room and they were looking for a pen. There's one location for it or two locations for it. It's
Minimal cast.
very minimal. There was like little to no magic, little to no cast. The visual effects, I mean, I'm not saying they weren't like stunning, but again, it was minimal. It was all stuff that we had already previously seen before in a, the opening or the ending to episode 5. So like a lot of the stuff that we saw, it was in one room. They took the elevator up and they were talking across the table for the entire thing. I had high hopes, and again, not that I thought like Doctor Strange was going to come out or anything, but Doctor Strange, his first like real big time change and like time reversal was with the apple.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of not looking for Doctor Strange in this at all, but like the connection to the potential Doctor Strange reference in WandaVision, like that might be this show's reference to Doctor Strange. I thought that was kind of cool. I was also looking forward to him reversing time somehow and or like, dipping it into the time stream so it could become a full apple again. Like I thought that would be hilarious. Just little shit like that I would love to see because I'm a fucking nerd. And I mean, Jonathan Majors did phenomenal. He had a very like Willy Wonka-esque vibe to him. Like he thought the whole thing was just funny.
Yeah.
Like it did. Like Willy Wonka just watched some kid get like drowned in a chocolate river, and he's like, "Haha, this is great." And that's Jonathan Majors in this episode. Like, and the cool thing about his character is he can be a different person every time we see him. He could be funny and chill like this guy. He could be evil and ruthless. He could be, completely stupid. Like, and there's zero way to say that's wrong because he has a billion variants. And he said, the second you stab me, you're going to be met with hundreds of thousands of me.
Yeah.
So, who's to say?
Would you have taken the deal?
So that it's a tough call. So here is if Jonathan Majors is if Kang the Conqueror or He Who Remains, whatever, if that is your deal, you sit there forever. Like he didn't say like, oh, I can just like leave and go hang out. Like he's not going to go chill in 2025 and with like Spider-Man. Like they're not going to go be best friends. I think Loki through this, and I know we talked before the episode about like character arcs. I think this Loki, flaws and all, had a very similar character arc to the Loki that you came to know and love in Infinity War. He had a softer side to him. He realized that like he had lost a lot, that he had a lot to gain, like mentally and physically. Not just like he doesn't want the throne. He doesn't want to be the ruler of anything anymore. He just wants to be happy. And like I don't think that job in and of itself would have made him happy. I think being with Sylvie would have been great, but I feel like there's a lot of things in the timeline that he wanted to fix and he couldn't. He would just have to watch them happen over and over again because again, time just continues to happen there. Like it doesn't, there's no like, oh, this is the end of time. We're just stopping now. We're just going to do nothing for the rest of our lives. And I think that if he was willing to take the deal, he would have made the deal with Miss Minutes in the beginning because she popped up and she was like, I'll put you guys, but he said, I'll put you both back in the timeline together. You can do your own thing. You can do whatever you want. You can have the throne of Asgard. And he's like, no, I don't really think I want that. He seemed almost tempted in the beginning, but I think at the end he was like, I'm good.
But would you have taken the deal?
Oh, so, and that's the thing. I don't know. I don't know if I could exist outside of time forever and like watch everyone that I care about die. And again, if my theory about the time loop is correct, like do it over and over again. I guess like after a while, it's just kind of like you're just waiting.
But you could always just go back and find him. Be like, yo, dude.
But that's just it. So can this man leave Chronopolis and go hang out with whoever he wants? Like, oh, hey, this is my best friend in 1901. Hey, George Washington, you should probably cross the Delaware Christmas Eve and go stab the redcoats in the face. Like that was my idea. No, like I don't know what my ability is to just jump in and out of time. And do I have the ability like the TVA agents do, just be like, all right, I'm going to open up. All right, cool. We're going to go to.
You would be running the TV. The deal was that they rule the TVA.
Correct, and they rule it their way. So, but again, like Owen Wilson can't hop out in anywhere and just go ride a jet ski. That was one thing he wanted to do and couldn't do it.
But if you ran the TVA, you can make that exception for him.
You're right, I could. And I absolutely would. And that was one thing I was really upset that they didn't have. I was looking forward to him.
Season 2,
riding
baby.
A jet ski. Oh, dude, if he's not riding
that's going to be opening scene.
I'm loving it. So I would say, so, and again, here's rolling the dice. Is he lying in saying that it would cause a multiversal rift? Strictly for intents and purposes, I'm gonna say I would take the Miss Minutes deal. Go back in time, or go back to where I was in the timeline. I could have basically whatever I wanted because I know what's gonna happen now. I control my future, and my new partner Sylvie is going to be there with me, as so long as that's what she wants. We're good to go. We rule shit together, and we live long, prosperous lives because fuck it, we have the Infinity Gauntlet, and no one's going to stop me. What about
I
you?
think I think I would take the deal in Loki's case. I don't know. I know he doesn't want a throne, but like it's kind of funny that he kind of like slaps himself in the face in the series if you go back and think about it. Because the first thing he does is curse Thor because he grew soft because of a female.
Yeah,
Like in the first movie, he's like, "Oh, a woman did this to you," like, and now here's him softening up because of a woman.
because of
Like,
himself.
yeah, oh yeah, that's. I mean,
it's such a weird dynamic, but I love it because yes, it is him, but it's not him, but it is him. So like it's that's like you how do you say like, oh, I love who I am without sounding like a total asshole?
right? You
So
can't.
yeah, and that's just it. Like, I mean, I like who I am as a person, but I don't know if I love me as a person.
I feel like I would hate myself. I'd be like, dude, you're a dick. And
Yeah,
he'd be, and I know in me, I'd be like, yeah, I know, thanks, and walk away.
exactly.
And then it would piss me off more because it's like I just told myself off, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Exactly. So now we are gearing up for season 2. Whenever that does decide to drop, Tom Hiddleston said he's willing to play Loki until he dies, which I think would be awesome. But an overall grasp of season 1's finale, I think it was done extremely well. Was there stuff that I wish was in it? Absolutely. I'm gonna give it like an 8.5.
Yeah, no, I'd probably go a solid 9.
Okay.
There's definitely things that I would change, but like I said, I think this is the best series so far. If I'm going down the line, I would give this like a 9. I would give WandaVision like an 8.9. I'd probably give Falcon and the Winter Soldier probably like an 8.5, just because there were things in each one that like I liked and I didn't like. But this was definitely by far the best series. But like I said earlier, I think WandaVision's finale was much more captivating. It caught my attention more. And I mean, with that post-credit scene that apparently there was a guy on, did you hear about that guy on TikTok who played like the season finale of WandaVision and Loki at the same time? He started them at like the exact same moment. Apparently, when Loki and Sylvie are talking to
Kang.
it's Kang, but the one who remains, when they're talking to him, he kind of gets like nervous. He says, "We just crossed the threshold." Apparently, at that moment, that's when Wanda actually turns into the Scarlet Witch in the show, in the finale versus Agatha.
Okay. So
So now there's a theory that it could have been multiple things. Like maybe it maybe not have just been Loki and Sylvie's Nexus event. It may be that along with now you have a Nexus being coming in, and maybe there might be somewhere he's that Kang is actually like scared of her, and maybe he's doing this to bring more of him to stop her possibly in the future, because we all know how that ends up working out with Wanda and everything.
I mean, that's not an impossible theory, to be 100% honest. And like you said, Wanda being a Nexus being, she is the first like confirmed. Obviously we've seen her on screen Nexus being. It's not like we're sitting there like, oh, Tony Stark's a Nexus being. No, like Wanda is a Nexus being,
Right.
and we fully expect that. Now, again, that could be when she becomes the Scarlet Witch and she fully accesses her power. And it's still not even fully accessed. She's studying the Darkhold at the end of it, but now that she has basically unlocked almost unlimited potential, that could be the thing that broke the multiverse.
Well, I don't think it was just that. I think that played into it because now you have this big surge of power plus the surge of power from Loki and Sylvie. Because like, why would you write a show about a character if they weren't the main calls. Like, you know what I
Sure.
mean? Like, oh, I'm gonna write Loki to have Wanda do this in another
Oh,
show.
absolutely. Yeah. No.
Like you're not gonna give her all the credit, but
No, but I think they're, like you said, it's connected. It has to be.
like, what if at the end during the post credit scene when she hears Billy and Tommy, that's the moment where the branches hit each other. So she's not hearing her Tommy and Billy. She's hearing
A multiversal Tommy and Billy.
right.
But again, and she's the same person in every universe, so she's probably doing the same thing in every universe. At least that's how I understand Nexus beings to be. Like they're the same in every universe.
They're the I think it's they're the same, but like they're not always all doing the same thing.
Sure,
It's not
sure,
like if one's studying, they're all studying,
sure.
but
I just,
they all follow that same path. None of
yeah.
them stray from it.
But yeah, I'm just saying, like, obviously Billy and Tommy aren't in their mother's presence, so maybe she's out doing Scarlet Witch type shit on her own in that, and like they got captured by none other than Mephisto, and they're the right and left arm of Mephisto. God damn it! If I die on this hill, I die on this hill, and that is that's where I end up on that Mephisto train for this series. Um, but I really liked everything about the series as a whole. I agree. This is probably one of the best. I love the fact that they brought in the other Lokis and that they weren't basically just Tom Hiddleston knockoffs. The obviously vote Loki, the President Loki he was, but I'm cool. I'm cool with that. I had my own theories about it. I thought he was going to like run for president of the Lokis, whatever. I'm glad he didn't.
Subverting expectations.
Yes, but hey, you know what? I'm completely cool with the fact that we had a kid Loki. We had the boastful Loki, who was a
Gator Loki.
dickhead. Yeah, alligator Loki or Croaky or crocodile Loki, whatever the hell you want to call him. Fan favorite. And then Old Man Loki or Classic Loki. Awesome.
Do you think Kid Loki and now I just don't know how enchanting works. Do you think is Eliath still enchanted or is he back to chasing Gator Loki and Kid Loki and everything else?
I don't know. So like,
or
again,
is he free now that he's dead?
I don't. So that's the thing was he who remains controlling Eliath and making him eat people, or is Eliath just like eating people? Because if he's not eating people anymore, he could go peacefully exist.
Well, he said he's the first one to weaponize it. So I treat it kind of like a dog. Like he trained Eliath not to go after him. And that's why Kang the Conqueror never came to our universe, was because in the comics, at least, Eliath was one of the first beings to fall in between time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it became so powerful. So it's kind of like the Black Flash, kind of like how he's like only goes after the speedsters, like when it's their time to go. Like,
well, and it's only if they like break the law of the Speed Force and shit too. Like there's a lot of
right. So like I think that's where Eliath kind of falls in that kind of a role. But do you think that that could bring him back in the future to help fight Kangs?
Yes, I want to say yes because I think again if he is,
or do you think Kang the Conqueror now has control of him?
It's a good question. That really, it's tough because again, like in this
I like
universe,
that they're not stressing over there.
Yeah. I mean, in this universe, at least, he who remains Immortus, whatever the hell you want to call him, like that, I think Eliath was controlled by him. So I don't think Eliath is like an angry monster anymore, but maybe in other universes it might be. Or maybe because it's multiverse, maybe Eliath is a Nexus being and we just don't know yet. Who knows?
Well, I was gonna say I don't know if there is other Eliaths because he kind of exists in that space in between timelines. So like there would only be one there.
Yeah, I have no idea. Again, it's something we can research and hopefully dive into before we hit season 2. Again, I want you guys to check out Black Widow. I think was a phenomenal movie. Phase 4 is just kicking straight ass all day, every day. I have not had anything that I'm like, nah, I just don't like this. I'm good. And again, people had their complaints about Black Widow, whatever. I thought it was an overall good movie. So, Mark, final thoughts?
I mean, for me, I just can't wait to see how they all sync up if they do all sync up. I don't know. kind of sad that I don't get to see more of like this Loki's journey yet. Like, I mean, I think he'll definitely be in Doctor Strange 2, maybe even spill over into Spider-Man. I mean, let's be honest, nowadays they're all Avengers movies.
That's true.
Like literally every solo movie has like at least two other Avengers in it at any given time.
That's true. I mean, yeah, and at this point we're kind of all over the place.
Like you're gonna have Wanda and Doctor Strange in that, then you're gonna have Spider-Man and like all these other characters that are allegedly gonna be there. So it's kind of like this, it's always an Avengers movie now. But as far as my final thoughts, I mean, I'm excited to see what the movies start bringing. What's the next thing we have? What if?
Yeah,
What if? I'm
hyped
really
for that.
excited
That
for
is
what
Chadwick
if.
Boseman's son, like his send off, because it was the last
Yeah.
thing he recorded prior to his death. God rest his soul.
Let us know what you guys think. What are
Yes,
you excited
absolutely.
for?
Yeah, let us know what you want to see, what you want us to cover. For right now, we're just covering a lot of. I mean, I know we do a lot of Marvel because a lot of the Marvel shows have been hitting off in the past couple months, but we are going to dive back heavy into DC. We got Titans coming out in a couple weeks. Really looking forward to that. I got to recap season 2, at least on my own, and just kind of catch myself back up. I'm looking forward to that. We got Long Halloween coming out. So much we're going to be covering. So yeah, guys, let us know what you want to hear, what you would like us to cover. If you would like to give your thoughts, opinions, and feelings on things, we'd love to hear them. So as always, guys, thank you so much for listening. You can catch us on Instagram and Facebook at Something Super Podcast, on Twitter at SS Podcast 52, Something Super Podcast at gmail.com. We are streaming on all of your major streaming services. That is everything up to and including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Guys, I'm Steve.
Mark.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week.